I'm really paying attention to who's there and what's going on, and I kind of absorb it, and then it comes out as music slowly.
I live in New York City. 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 Yeah.
What I'm doing right now is traditional, pulling from lots of different sources and styles and genres and forms, and kind of squishing them together. That's traditional work. The Greeks would wear big, huge platform shoes. They had masks and big, long arms, and they would essentially be in a very heightened kind of drag on stage. And so that, to me, is the traditional work, is theatricality in the theater, whereas the bringing everything down, that's new. That's the strange stuff. I don't quite understand that kind of work.
I think it's been an interesting and enriching thing for me as an artist to be exposed to a number of the different world cultures, and that is an important part of the cosmopolitanism of my voice. So sometimes it's the language of people's voices, of the literature that they read, of something that I become exposed to. That's all really vital as part of the lifeblood of what I do. Oftentimes in the Arabic world, when poetry is delivered, when it's read out loud, usually from memory, and it's delivered in a very song-like way, which usually brings people to tears on the streets of Cairo. I mean, can you imagine that? Some guy standing on the corner of 10th Avenue and 22nd Street, reading poetry and bringing average people in the street to tears. It's a pretty foreign concept to us, but it's native and has been native to the Arabic tradition for thousands of years.
Yes, I do believe in beauty. I think I do. And yes, I know that the religious experience that I saw in the people around me, like my mother, praising their Southern Baptist God, I know that I can find that. I call it the hallelujah place, right here. And when art is really working, that hallelujah place is activated, and now everything is possible.
I always say whatever I'm playing is just basically a different facet of my mother. She was a brilliant teacher and had a brilliant mind. She was both a lady, but she was quite enlightened, but she was theatrical. When she would do Macbeth in her classroom, the children were frightened. That's all I can say. She was one of the most graceful people I've ever seen. I used her in The Heiress. I used her as Sister Aloysius. I used her in Pride's Crossing. Mama's been right at the center of everything I've ever done.
My aesthetic is the moment where folk music and experimental music are the same thing, like DJ scratching. As a composer, I'm fascinated by human beatboxers because it's an urban folk art tradition. I look to my elders who made good tools, like John Cage is a huge, huge influence on me. The point of my music, conceptually, is not the point of John Cage's music. I'm just using his tools, prepared piano, really seeing silence as a note, a heavy, big, huge note.
This man, Chicken John, who had his own punk rock circus for many years and was a part of many bands, and he opened this place called the Odeon, and it became a place for odd and unlikely entertainment. And one day a puppet show came through that was a Charles Bukowski story about necrophilia done with puppets, and I had never really considered puppets something for adults or something that could be grown up.
Art making for me is participation in the world of ideas. Ideas. Others say, Bill, you're so emotional. It must be about feelings. No. Even feelings are framed by ideas. Participation in the world of ideas is to validate my ability to think. And my ability to think says that I am alive. If I don't fight, I will become invisible. So inspiration is in some ways gasping to say I'm alive.
What I find my inspiration? In prostitution, drugs, and TV. the streets, New York City, the people that are crawling and looking for life, like in the 40s movie, the bad girl that was never gonna make it, or the girl that was hiding in the alleyway. Kind of the naughty things. I like the naughty stuff. I like things where people are struggling, because life is a struggle. I'm not political, like, saying, life is a struggle, you gotta do, it's a natural thing. I do it naturally, and people kind of follow it and get hypnotized and get trapped by a show and get inspired.
One of my main strategies as a composer, which is what I call cooking with good ingredients. And inspired by, if you have really good olive oil, fresh basil, and good tomatoes, you really gotta be an idiot to fuck it up.